Elsewhere today, Jose Mourinho sacked as coach of Spurs. They currently sit 7th in the table, 5 points off a top 4 place. Let's welcome in Don Hutchison and Stewart Robson. Robbo, considering they're playing Manchester City in the League Cup final this weekend, was the timing of this somewhat strange?
No, not at all. I think they've made the decision because they knew they weren't going to win the Carabao Cup because they haven't been playing well enough under Jose Mourinho. And they think that it might just give them a boost for the game. It might give the players a lift. They might play with a bit more freedom. So I think that's the reason why they've made the decision now.
Don?
Disagree with Robbo. I'm stunned. I mean, Tottenham Hotspur and Daniel Levy bring Jose Mourinho in, not for style. They want to get a trophy in the cabinet. They are 6 days away from a cup final. Is Daniel Levy and Tottenham telling me they've got more chance for Ryan Mason in charge than Jose Mourinho? That can't be the case, surely.
Robbo, Don says you're talking nonsense.
Yeah, but also what they don't want is Mourinho. They'd love to win the trophy, but they don't want Mourinho winning it, and then they can't sack him because he says, "I've won the trophy for you." They know that the players don't want him at the club. They don't. The players don't want him at the club. The players do not want him at the club. They're not playing with any freedom. If there was a crowd at White Hart Lane, he'd have been sacked 3-4 months earlier because the standard of football has been woeful at Tottenham. There's been no entertainment. They haven't been winning enough games as well. So they're not been good enough. He's been brought in to bake them into a top 4 side. He hasn't done that.
Yeah, but you can't surely agree. You can't surely, have the thought process. If you're Daniel Levy, you want to sack your manager just in case he wins the cup.
I'm telling you now, they've got more chance of winning under Ryan Mason, whether he's a rookie manager or not. The players will play more expansive football. They will play with a bit more freedom. They don't want to play for Jose Mourinho. Harry Kane might.
Why did they bring him in?
But most of the players didn't want to play for him.
Why did they bring him in then?
Well, the players didn't bring him in. The chairman brought him in, and now the players aren't happy. The football's not very good. The chairman's decided, I want to get rid of him, and so do the players.
Big roll of the dice, Shaq.
It really is. Listen, Daniel Levy's taken a lot in letting go of Mauricio Pochettino and bringing in Jose Mourinho. He brought in Jose Mourinho with the promise of delivering silverware. So now to be days away from a cup final, to let go of the manager who you brought in to deliver silverware, I find a really odd decision. Unless the decision has already been made that we're going to sack him at the end of the season, and there's some kind of clause in Mourinho's contract around compensation for delivering the Carabao Cup, I just don't see how sacking him now makes sense. I really don't.
What's interesting, Don, is that you'd never really associate Daniel Levy of being that hands-on, that involved with the players. But if this is the case and he thinks, well, maybe they had a better chance of winning the Cup without Jose Mourinho, there must have been some sort of communication there.
There must have been, or Daniel Levy's having a little panic up maybe at the fact that Julian Nagelsmann is probably about to go to Bayern Munich and they think they can try and steal a march on where Julian Nagelsmann's going to end up. So maybe they've had to go early. Chelsea wanted Nagelsmann, but he didn't want to leave Leipzig.
Well, he's not going to go to Spurs. So, why would he go to Spurs, Don?
What, over Bayern Munich?
Yeah.
I don't think that's a given. I think Julian Nagelsmann's been preparing.
No, Premier League's great. Forget about everyone else.
No.
Would you go,
Daniel?
Go on.
I'm not on that wagon where I'm just saying the Premier League's the greatest in the world. What I'm saying is, someone like Julian Nagelsmann, who's been preparing to come to England for quite a while, don't rule out. I understand that Bayern Munich are a much bigger club than Tottenham, but timing's key. Timing's everything. If Tottenham go in for Julian Nagelsmann now and they think they can secure him, then it wouldn't be the worst move in the world. Personally, if I was Daniel Levy, I'd be knocking on Leicester's door asking for Brendan Rodgers. That's how I see the fit. But unless he's thinking, I need to get him in now before he goes to Bayern, because as Shaka said, there's no reason to sack Jose Mourinho 6 days before a cup final. There's no other reason. They must be thinking of moving pretty quickly for a manager.
I have to admit, I don't see Nagelsmann. I don't see how that's a choice for Nagelsmann, in all honesty. Now, if you're telling me that Daniel Levy maybe kind of had some kind of intuition around what Bayern Munich were doing 6 months ago, that's one thing. And stealing a jump on Nagelsmann 6 months ago before Flick decided that he was leaving or whatever else may come about in German football, that's one thing. But now you know that Bayern Munich job is opening up. You know that Nagelsmann is top of Bayern's list, reportedly. If you're Nagelsmann, I don't see why you make that decision now, given that we're weeks before the end of the season, and I don't see how Spurs become a more exciting prospect or challenge than Bayern Munich. That I don't get.
Robert, if you're a top manager, do you want this job?
I think, well, if you're a top manager, you want the very best jobs. This isn't the very best job. If you're just below that, I think this is a very good job. Pochettino came in when he'd done a good job at Southampton and did even better. Jose Mourinho was on the wane. That's why he got the Tottenham job. So I think if you're just below that very top echelons of managers, he could, a new manager would like the job. Absolutely. It's a good club. It's got a massive stadium. They've got a great fan base and they've got some very good players. Whether they can hang on to them, that's another matter.
Brendan Rodgers, Robbo?
I think it's a good fit. I think he'll play the right sort of football. I think he says all the right things. But the one thing you have to do when you go into Tottenham, and Pochettino did it brilliantly for 4 or 5 years, he managed the chairman. Because Daniel Levy wants to run the football club. And he talks to the players all the time. And Pochettino, when he came in, said, if I hear you talk to the players and you try and get their opinion of what I'm doing, I will walk out on you straight away. And that's why Pochettino had such a good time there.
Is this it for Mourinho, Robbo, when it comes to big clubs, big jobs?
I think so. I think he's lost his way. I think his style of football isn't good anymore. I don't think he can get the best out of players. His man management doesn't seem to be right. The press aren't quite with him anymore. So I think his time as a top manager have gone.
Don?
Yeah, I agree. I just think the game's moving on and it's moving on quickly. I was chatting to Dion Dublin today about Sir Alex Ferguson. And I said to him, do you think Sir Alex could manage in the modern day? And he went, absolutely not. And I think what Jose Mourinho and Sir Alex they were unbelievable motivators. And I think the modern day players are a little bit softer than what they were a decade ago. And I think Jose's struggling to probably adapt with the modern day player. So his likely destination, in my opinion, might be a little bit of time off. He might watch the Euros. He might see how Portugal go if they go out early. That might be his likely destination.
Very Spursy overall, I suppose. This is the only club that Jose Mourinho has ever been at that he hasn't won a trophy. Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.